Hey, welcome to the Sports Reverends podcast. My name is Dan. I'm joined with my co-host, also known as the coach. We are Drew Martinless. White Sports Reverend isn't able to make it today. And, is that sensitive about racial stuff? Well, we're going to be getting into that in our topic eventually. Coach, why don't you tell them the rundown of the show?
All right, we are Drew Martinless, but we're going to talk some basketball. Boston Warriors finals. We talked about how they got there. We're going to talk about the Jays. We also are going to talk about a potential celebrity friend who sat in front of us. And we were just discussing a little bit about race, Tim Anderson, Jackie Robinson, things like that, and sensitivity and what we should be thinking about moving forward. But first, this is the 99th episode of the Sports Reps. Big shout out. Didn't think we'd get here.
And that means we got some 99 trivia that I got cooked up here for the coach. And let's see how good he does. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the trivia question. There may be a hint or two in there in the question, but I'll also give you multiple choice answers. Okay, so you just got to pay attention. And for those of you listening in, let's see how good you do as well. Okay, so the first question of our number 99s. All right, name this NBA player. He wore the number 99. He played in the 1950s. His nickname was Mr. Basketball, playing for the Minneapolis Lakers, who led them to 5 titles. Is it A, Bob Pettit? Is it B, George Mikan? Is it C, Larry Faust? Is it D, Elgin Baylor? Or is it E, Wilt Chamberlain?
I'm going to lock this answer. I know this one right away. George Mikan.
B, George Mikan. That is absolutely correct. I thought you would get that one. I didn't think Coach...
to Nick Jansen and the Mikan drill back in the day.
There we go, the Mikan drill. You guys got to Google that if you're learning basketball. Question number 2. Now this one might screw you up here. Which side of the great one, Wayne Gretzky, did he tuck his jersey in? Was it A, the left side, B, the right side, C, both sides, or D, untucked?
I think it was the right side.
Right side locked in?
Locked in.
Boom, you are 2 for 2. Excellent. Right side is absolutely correct. Number 99, Gretzky. All right, number 3. How long did it take for J.J. Watt to win his first NFL Defensive Player of the Year award? Was it A, the 5th season, B, the 4th season, C, the 3rd season, or D, the 2nd season?
I'm going to be aggressive and say D, his 2nd season.
No way. You are 3 for 3. No more Stump the Schwab. This is Stump the Coach here. Okay, question number 4. Question number 4. Which NFL player did not wear number 99? There's some pretty great ones that I'm going to list here. A, Jason Taylor. B, Warren Sapp. C, Aaron Donald. D, James Harrison. Or E, Dan Hampton.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think it's Aaron Donald, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to lock it in.
That is your first incorrect answer of the day. The correct answer was D, James Harrison. The rest of those guys all weren't. Yeah, I know. It's all those guys were 99. I think even back in the day there was partly because of your position. You only had so many numbers to wear, but now it's all changed. But question number 5. Go on. Let's see if you can go 4 for 5. How many consecutive years was Wayne Gretzky named league MVP? Was it A 6 consecutive years, B 4, C 3, or D 8 consecutive years named league MVP?
Wayne Gretzky MVP. I'm gonna say 8. I think it's 6. But I'm gonna say 8.
Boom! That is absolutely correct. He is 4 for 5. You're absolutely murdering it. What we'll do, we'll see. Maybe we'll do these questions with Sports Rev Drew next episode to see how well he does. Because I think he's not going to do this well. All right, this one's going to be tough. Final question.
All right. Final question.
In the 4 major American sports, the championship teams in the year 1999. Okay, the 4 American sports are NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. Okay? Was it A, Denver Broncos, Boston Red Sox, San Antonio Spurs, and Dallas Stars? Or was it B, St. Louis Rams, New York Yankees, Los Angeles Lakers, Buffalo Sabres? Was it C, Green Bay Packers, New York Mets, San Antonio Spurs, Philadelphia Flyers? Or was it D, Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City Royals, Los Angeles Lakers, or Pittsburgh Penguins?
What was the first one again?
Denver Broncos, Boston Red Sox, San Antonio Spurs, Dallas Stars.
Man, I wish I could have wrote these down, but I feel like A. I think it's A.
You think it's A?
I'm confident. I think it's A.
You are absolutely correct. Boom. I even threw it in there to throw in a couple San Antonio Spurs to screw you up, but you figured it out. I know that's how you figured it out. I don't think Sports Rev Drew would get that one.
The Broncos gave it away. I knew the Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos. You did know the Broncos, too.
That's what...
I put the Packers in there as well. Man, those were tough. That was not easy. Well done. Well done.
I think my problem is having Drew around. I always lose to Drew.
Well, maybe we can test him next and see how he does. You went 5 for 6. Good job. Why don't you take us to commercial?
Beauty. You guys know who it is. www.train2invest.com. Train to invest. If you're looking to find a better method for your retirement, a second stream of income, something to just bring stability to your life, and cryptocurrencies all over the place. Leaving stuff to your financial professional is not going to get you the returns you are looking for, and it's not going to get you the retirement plan you want. Learn how to do it yourself. That's what we do at Train to Invest. We teach you, the novice investor, how to navigate the stock market, generate a consistent return, and have an understanding of what it takes to be successful. So if you're looking for guidance, if you're looking for a program, if you're looking for knowledge on how to change your life, check us out at www.train2invest.com, train2invest.com. Download our free ebook and give us a chance to show you how to change your life. All right. NBA Finals are here.
Woo!
And if you were, let's call it the average betting person, you would have assumed that Golden State would have trounced through Boston in maybe 4 or 5 games. But last night was something else. I don't know about you, but I was looking at Twitter to begin the game, and all I saw was Steph Curry. End the game wasn't so much. What were your initial thoughts watching that game?
Going into the game, I knew that game 1 is the most, not useless game, but the most less pressure-filled game for either team. And even talking, so we have 4 summer interns at Church in the City this year, and 3 of us, not Ife, 3 of us all talked about how game 1, we could really see Boston winning. Boston could steal game 1, but we believe that Golden State's going to win. One person said game 5, I said game 6. So
Can you speak into the mic a little closer?
Yes. Okay, so game 6 is what we believe Golden State's going to win. But we said from the beginning, game 1 is so up in the air. You're feeling each other out. You're getting to know each other. Boston has a sticky defense. Golden State also has a sticky defense, but they also have a weird offense as well. So it usually takes some time. You kind of saw... Yeah, I wasn't surprised, is what I'm saying. I wasn't surprised that Boston won this game. That was the question.
Wow. Okay. I honestly have a completely different take on game 1s. I understand there's a lot of nervous energy. But for a team like Golden State, who's most of their players have been there to the finals already, that wouldn't be that big of an issue. I would have expected game one for Golden State to come out, try and set a big dominant tone, and really be like, "Nice try, Boston. You may win one or two, but there's no way you're winning four." Giving up game one is essentially they're giving up home court advantage, right? So all Boston has to do is win every game at home, and they're done. So
Did you fully watch
get
the
where you
game?
guys are coming from. Pardon?
Did you fully watch yesterday's game?
No, I only watched the last half.
So basically what I got from the game was Boston was playing their best offensive game just to stick around. Like the best they could play. Like Al Horford had to give his 25-point night, hit like 6 threes. I just don't like, to me that was the feel, and I was like, okay, they could still win this game, but this is just like, it still feels like they're just grasping to hang around.
But that's the thing with this Golden State team. They aren't careful with the ball. They're very sloppy. They give up a lot of turnovers, and to a team like Boston, and I mean, let me set the record straight here. I really don't like Boston at all, and I don't want them to win. But for a team that plays excellent defense, can switch through a lot of plays, giving up the ball is easy points. And if you're giving up easy points, yeah, sure, Steph and Clay can, and Jordan Poole can go off at any given point in time. But if you're giving up easy points, that sets a mentality of, fourth quarter, you give up 2-3 easy buckets. That's 6 to 9 points that you can't easily get back right away.
It's true.
Right? The defense clamps down. There's more pressure because it's the playoffs. This is the finals, right? You now have to win 4 games instead of 3 to have a successful season. So while I agree with you 100% that Boston really played out of their mind. If you're giving Al Horford, if he's dropping 25 on you, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
But will it happen again?
It doesn't even matter, because now they got to figure the defensive side of things. They got, how do we stop Horford? Right? If he's going to keep exploiting you, even if he drops 15 and 10 every single night for the rest of the way through.
That's a lot to ask for Horford.
He's going to pull guys out. It changes the dynamic. I'll give you one example. When Kawhi got hurt first round with the Spurs, I believe it was against Golden State. That changed the entire game one. If Kawhi doesn't go down, Spurs win that series.
Kawhi? Do you mean Durant? Wait, what are you talking about?
No. Kawhi was it was Kawhi, and they were just.
Oh yeah, you're right. When Zaza Pachulia stuck his foot under him.
Yeah. See, right. Yeah, because the Spurs were destroying them in Golden State.
Yes.
And I firmly believe if Kawhi doesn't go down, they win that series. Maybe Kawhi doesn't leave.
Maybe.
And
that's true.
Get their championship. But I think it's really about setting the tone and really saying, hey, this is our style of play. We're gonna make you conform to us. But Boston's come in. All they gotta do is win every single home game from now on. And the Garden is a pretty tough place to play in, just like the Warrior Stadium. But I don't know. I don't think it's such a gimme game.
What another interesting point to add into this is Boston is the number 1 defensive team, and Golden State is the second-rated best defensive team. So the 2 top defensive teams, both teams are basically built from draft and then have the pieces around them, which is pretty cool. I like to see that. But at the end of the day, I also think experience goes a long way too. And what I will say this is that I had a really weird dream last night about Boston winning game 2. Like it was a 94-86 game. They held Golden State to 86. Even in my dreams, I don't care about any of that. I know for a fact Golden State's not losing 2 at home in the NBA Finals in a row.
Maybe you're a prophet and you don't even know it.
No, I know it for a fact. Not going to fall for that trick. I'm not gonna fall for that trick.
We'll find out Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, One thing that really kind of has been overlooked was what happened with Boston's coaching this year.
Yeah. Mr. Udoka.
Brad Stevens went to the front office. Udoka comes in, first year coach, and just crushes it. Like, he's made all the right decisions. He's coached his team well. Like, everybody praised the Nets for hiring Steve Nash. Blah 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 blah. Not that anything wrong with Steve Nash, but like, Udoka hasn't really gotten the love or the attention that he deserves. And being an expert, I mean, I automatically root for the guy.
He's done absolutely well, especially handling the first 20 games of the season where it was like a train wreck.
Yeah.
It was tough. They weren't even in the play-in for a little bit, and absolutely turned it around and became the best team in the second half of the season in the whole league, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I hate Marcus Smart, but he's maximized his Marcus Smart's abilities and talents, and I think Tatum is still really inconsistent. If he can find some consistency in the next couple of games, I don't know, man.
And give Brad Stevens some love as well, as he changed his role and made key moves before the break. They brought in your guy White he used to play for the Spurs as well.
Yeah,
Derek White, and they brought back Theis, which was a big pickup for them. Both are impact players, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And Derek White, like, he's a slow dude.
Yeah.
And let's not mince any words here, but he does the right things. And on a team where you have, I think that's the kind of reason why I love the Spurs and other teams that really build up through their draft, is they find guys that fit the mold.
Right.
Right. You get a lot of like, I'm a big Duke guy. I love Duke. But you see all the draft picks coming through, and it's like they were great in college and university level, but you don't see that same impact here in the NBA, which is really unfortunate. Like, I think the best Duke player I can think of in the last 2 decades is JJ Redick.
Better than Kyrie?
Kyrie's been so inconsistent, though. I mean, and he's still not done. So there's time for Kyrie. I mean, yeah, he's got a ring and everything.
JJ's right there, like right under him. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, the impact in the game, like, you don't. And there's so many like guys who come out of Duke who show, hey, we're gonna be this, and this, but don't make an impact in the game.
Yeah.
But you have guys who smaller name guys who go like, what's the guy from Dallas, Brunson?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he got picked in the second round. Like, these guys who just are skilled but don't quite fit the mold, and they come in and do what they got to do. And these are the types of moves that championship teams make. Like, you look like what Masai did. Yeah, he brought in Kawhi, but he also has brought in so many of the different pieces throughout the entire run to make things work.
And how many undrafted guys they get that are
absolutely
and second rounders. So
yeah, I think it's more than ever, you have to hit on your picks. You have to hit on your picks.
And then develop them, not just panic.
Yes.
You got to take time to develop, which in the world of the NBA today is like, it's like a microwave. You need your craft dinner.
You need your instant gratification there.
There it is.
What about let's take a look at the guys who lost in the East and West finals here. Start off with Miami. Did we see the real Miami Heat come through?
You know, it's really hard to say. Like, Jimmy Butler was playing on one leg. He got injured midway through that series. Kyle Lowry was basically non-existent because you could tell he was broken. You can tell he looks really old. But I think that's due to the injury. And then Tyler Hero, their other starter, he wasn't even available all series. So I don't think it was the real Miami Heat. I really think if they're healthy, they probably beat Boston, because it came down to that Jimmy Butler missed. I think it was a good look, but he missed that last 3-pointer. It was wide open, and that came down to that and a few other small things you could say. But is that close without those guys being healthy? Come on. Even the Bucks without Middleton, I'm taking the Bucks with Middleton over the Boston Celtics as well.
Ooh, I think the Celtics and the Bucks have a good matchup though.
Yeah.
I know Middleton would have made it even better, but I think the Celtics match up with the Bucks well. And I agree with you with the Heat. Like Jimmy was, playing one leg, sure. Kyle Lowry shouldn't have really been out there to begin with.
Yeah.
Basically contributed nothing, and that's it's sad to see, but like he's also an old dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a big contract. I know we love him up here in Toronto, but probably a good thing he moved on in terms of age
and what we got back too. So
yeah, and I think Bam really kind of fell off the cliff too.
Yeah.
Like no offense, but like Horford shouldn't be able to guard you.
No.
Like there's no way. You're a young guy, you got legs, you just gotta run and just go at him.
He hasn't developed his offensive side at all.
No, and that's gonna be interesting to see what he can do and bring to this upcoming year. But what about the Mavs? How do the Mavs look to you? Do they make changes? What do you see? What do you think?
So I'm not calling Luka Doncic Michael Jordan, but I will say this, okay? Before Michael Jordan was able to really succeed in the playoffs, win series, all those things, he needed Scottie Pippen. Luka Doncic needs another high all-star caliber player alongside of him that will fit. Can't just be any guy. Has to be a guy that'll fit. And like for what he's doing with what he has, I think is incredible. He's up and coming greatness. Absolutely. I that's all I can say.
Yeah. They need to find him the right partner. I think Carlisle wasn't the best fit for him as a coach, and part of that could have been Carlisle's fault. Jason Kidd has done a really good job, surprisingly, but he's done a really good job connecting the players. Porzingis was not used the right way, and didn't ever become the second fiddle or the second superstar they needed. Looking at the roster now, they're gonna have to pay Brunson potentially. They could let him go, but cap-wise, like, they got to pay him first.
Mm-hmm.
You got Hardaway Jr.
He was on the bench all series, yeah.
He didn't play at all, right? But he still hasn't been. He's not your second go-to guy.
No.
But he's getting paid. He's getting paid some big bucks.
Yeah.
Right. Dinwiddie, is he your second go-to guy? Can't be.
No.
Right. So they got a lot of like B, C plus kind of guys on their team. They got to do something to bring another contributor as well. Now, is it necessarily have to be a post-up guy? I don't think so. I think it's got to be another ball handler to take some of the pressure off of Luka. And they got to get, and kind of like what I've been saying for a lot of guys, they got to get Luka moving a little bit more to get some of those mismatches, right? Because a lot of their offense was just pick and roll, find a mismatch for Luka and let him do something, which works when you're 22, 23, 24. When you get further down the line, like, your body's just going to be worn out. So I think while this was a nice run for the Mavs, if they want to be serious contenders, something has to change. Kind of like the Jazz, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Jazz are in trouble.
Different.
Yeah, to me, Jazz are in trouble.
Yeah, the Gobert Mitchell pairing is done. Mike Conley hasn't done much to really justify his salary. I honestly expected him to be like a big game changer for them, but he just hasn't done it. So that's a problem. I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of interesting moves that need to be made, but who knows? Last topic before we jump off the NBA bandwagon here. Kyrie. There's been rumors, noises that the Nets may want to trade Kyrie, and if they do, Durant's out the door as well. Thoughts?
Yeah, they definitely don't move him because of Durant, and also, what do you get? Like, how do you, like, you're just gonna let him walk, or are you gonna, like, I wouldn't offer him a long-term contract. You offer him short-term big money, and you pretty much have to just roll with the punches. I think you have to run it back. They can retool. They had so many one-year contracts with all their old guys, so now they have to get new old guys, basically. And New veteran minimums is what I'm trying to say. And pair it around Simmons, Durant, Kyrie. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna have a great next year because they're gonna be healthy and playing together. And that's a wrap.
Well, we assume they're going to be healthy. We don't know what's going on with Ben Simmons, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I think the Bucks come back strong.
Yep.
The Nets will come back strong. Miami might have priced themselves out of a roster,
Yep.
but they'll be decent. Raptors should be up there as well. We'll see. Bulls, of course. If they don't, if Zach LaVine does resign.
Zach
who
LaVine's
knows?
saying he wants out.
Zach
No,
LaVine wants
actually,
to
that's a
trade.
lie. LeVar Ball says Zach LaVine
LeVar,
wants out.
yeah.
So who knows? Who knows
LeVar,
what's
I don't
true?
know, man. I don't know who keeps giving this guy a microphone. Anyways, let's flip to our hometown, at least for you and I, Toronto Blue Jays, who are sitting second in the AL East. Had a nice win the other night against the White Sox.
And yesterday.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Jays? What you liking that? Like,
So
it's a tough start, but
absolutely, the Jays have had the hardest schedule in the whole Major League Baseball. Literally the hardest. And so that's very exciting. I think for the fact that they finished above 500 after that start was very impressive. The pitching was great. The batting was slow. And you kind of see the change happening now. And the bats are picking up. They're on an 8-game win streak now. They just swept the Angels and now the White Sox last night, which was a great game by Alek Manoah. They host the Twins this weekend. Me and Coach are going to go see them tomorrow, Saturday, June 4th. That's when we're going to go see them. So that's going to be fun. And look, with the pitching going to hold it down and the bats picking it up, the Jays are going to be deadly. And they're going to be right there near the top heading into the playoffs. That's my prediction. They look great.
yeah, well, they're sitting at 30-20 right now. 17-8 at home, 13-12 away. Like, you want to be at least 500 in your away games,
Yeah.
right? Because you want to crush at home and be at least 500 in your away games, and that's what they're doing. They're right there. They're recipe for success. I think Drew would attest to this. You want your pitching to be solid year round. The bats will come. Hitters go through slumps. They go through cycles. You don't want your pitching to do that, right? Because come playoff time, consistent pitching is key, because you get those 1-0 games, 2-1. Like, you get a lot of low scoring games, high intensity, and I think they're deep all the way through. Some of the earlier struggles from the back end of the rotation we're seeing solidify. The closing situation is strong here, and they're 5.5 games back behind the Yankees. They're sitting third in the AL. I think if you said that at the beginning of the year, we would consider this a success.
Yeah, big
Right?
time. And the return of Teoscar Hernandez has been a slow. He even admitted it himself in a few interviews that he's been rushing at the plate and all those kinds of things. But you can see him settle in now and has just been clutch after clutch after clutch these last few games. And that's a huge. I think Drew said he views Teoscar as our second best batter, which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
But with those guys going, and even when we sat out George Springer the last couple games, we're still putting up runs, which is amazing.
Absolutely. And I think Drew nailed it when he said that with Teoscar back, it takes away the ability just to pitch around Vladdy,
Yeah.
right? It adds that next level of bite into the lineup. How about you talk to us about the misplay of the game that you are unlikely to see on TSN, but you will see on the Sports Reps?
That's right. We got the misplay of the game. This actually probably should be heard around the league because it's pretty funny. It's about a superstar defenseman, Canadian guy. I hate throwing Canadians under the bus, but we got to in this moment. Owen Powers. I got a little picture of him here. right there. I'll just flip to it there, flip back, just so my make sure my mic works. Owen Powers was sitting about a row ahead of us in the outfield. We were right by the third baseline, and he's the number 1 overall draft pick for the Buffalo Sabres in 2021. So this is a elite player, okay? And Danny Jansen hits a home run. And let me just show you this picture. Right off the chest of Owen Powers, beside his girl, rolls to the front, and even the camera guys then pan to me. You can see me right there. They pan to me, and you could see, oh, Sports Rev Dan would have caught that, because this guy just boom right in the chest, and that was a little bit embarrassing for that guy. So that was the misplay of the game for that elite level NHL hockey player for the Buffalo Sabres. Shout out to Colin Beauchamp for screenshotting those on live TV while me and Coach were at the game watching the Blue Jays destroy.
And you wonder why Buffalo just keeps getting these high picks. They might be picking the wrong guys.
Maybe. This guy's supposed to be really solid. And it was really funny because I was talking this week with some of my interns about recognizing one intern. We have J. Cole here in the city playing for the Scarborough Shooters. And my one intern got to see J. Cole walking the streets. And he said there's no one really caring that he's just walking the street. No big deal. And then we talked about how NBA players would get recognized so easily. And then we kind of have a debate about hockey players, about them being recognizable. And if this was a number 1 overall NBA pick, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have noticed, including you and me at the baseball game. But this is a number 1 overall NHL pick 2021 recently, and we had no idea. I had no idea this was the guy. Even the guys behind me were chirping him, asking if he's got some bruises and all that, because they thought, it's just he looks like an average Joe. Which leads us. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
He does not look like a hockey player.
And he's a big deal.
Some sort of prep school, pampered kid just coming to the game with his girl.
He kind of looks like Colin Beauchamp to me. Shout out Colin Beauchamp. Which leads us to our following discussion, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Because the Toronto Blue Jays were playing the Chicago White Sox, there's a guy named Tim Anderson, Tony La Russa, the manager, have a few opinions on race and comments about Josh Donaldson that I think we take a little bit of issue with, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. But before we get there, we got a commercial from our very dear and near sponsors to my heart, which is Urban Hope. Urban Hope is a youth and kids mentorship program that I get to run right in the heart of downtown Toronto. And we get the opportunity to build programs for kids and youth that are affordable or mostly free for them to attend, for them to grow, for them to learn mentorship skills, for them to have a safe space, and for them to hear about God's Word, the Bible. And we get to have that opportunity to share and pour into these kids' lives and give them a little bit of hope, and hope that they can't find in this world, but hope that they can find in God. So that's what we get to do. And our very own coach, he's going to be coaching our basketball program that we're starting. We're starting the Urban Hope basketball program to help students that can't afford to play at the next level. We're going to give them an opportunity, and they're not going to pay a dime. All they're going to do is pay in volunteer hours, and we're going to fundraise and cover the rest. And that's where you guys come in. If you guys are interested in helping some inner city program, fund a basketball team, fund our program in any kind of way, you can do that through the sportsreverends.com/sponsors. You'll be able to even get a tax receipt for that. Not a gift receipt, a tax receipt. And or you can go to even churchinthecity.ca and say give that way, and you'll also get a tax receipt that way. Because we're a not-for-profit, we're a registered charity, and we thank you for your support. We're excited for how Coach is going to coach them on the court and for life off the court as well.
Tim Anderson, do you have the quote that Tim Anderson has said at all?
I won't. Why don't you give the rundown of the story? I'll pull it up.
Sure. So Tim Anderson, baseball player for Chicago White Sox, initially compared himself to Jackie Robinson. He is a person of color. as the polite term is, I suppose. And then I think 2 weeks ago they were playing the Yankees, and Josh Donaldson, a white guy, cranked a hit, and then as he's running by, he said, "Way to go, Jackie," or something along those lines. And Tim Anderson took deep, deep offense to this.
Here's the quote.
And here it is.
Tim Anderson said a few years ago said this. I kind of feel like today's Jackie Robinson. He says that's huge to say, but it's cool, man, because he changed the game, and I feel like I'm getting to a point to where I need to change the game. So this is then. So Josh Donaldson was his teammate back then. They were friends. They had joked about it. Josh Donaldson would regularly call him Jackie all the time because he referred to himself being Jackie. He wants to change the game. The quote even goes on further, to be honest. I read the whole. It's a whole blog post, really. And Tim Anderson also talks about how Jackie Robinson added fun to the game, which is totally missing the point of who Jackie Robinson is. And I'll just pause there. I'll let you continue.
So, for those of you who don't know, Jackie Robinson was the first black player to play in the MLB. He crossed the color line, broke barriers, endured a lot of racism. There's a movie I think it's called 42, with I think it's Chadwick Boseman, right?
Yeah.
Black Panther guy. Yeah. He does an excellent portrayal of Jackie Robinson, and it's a very well written movie, and it shows the hardships that Jackie Robinson had to go through to play in the MLB. And not only play, but he's one of the best players ever. So when you're comparing yourself to Jackie Robinson, that's like me trying to say, hey, my jump shot is so wet, I'm just like Michael Jordan. Dumb. It's dumb, it's arrogant, and it sets you up for a lot of pain down the line, especially if you can't back it up. And to be honest, I hadn't heard of Tim Anderson before this whole controversy came out.
Tim Anderson is a very good player. He's going to be an all-star. He's got an impressive at bat. Is he
He's no Mike Trout.
Exactly. He's no legendary.
So what I'm saying is he's not a name that maybe the average household person would know. Mike Trout, many people know who that is, right? If you just flicking through the TV, you'll hear something about Mike Trout being one of the best players ever, or something like that, right? Or Kevin Durant, LeBron, those kind of names, household names. Tim Anderson is not quite in that category yet. He may get there, but as of right now, he's not. So when you say you're the next Jackie, or I feel like I'm Jackie Robinson or whatever, and I want to bring fun to the game, you're talking out of your other lower hole, because that ain't right.
To list the things that don't even highlight Jackie Robinson in that whole post that he said is like he's totally missing the point. And then for him to basically cry wolf, it's basically trying to build his brand and have his manager Tony La Russa, the 77-year-old Caucasian white male who's definitely jumping on board of riding the woke train and being the leader in systemic the stop of systemic racism. It's just all smoke and mirrors to me. Like this is absolutely ridiculous. We need to not be okay with this. And even I feel bad for Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson, he came out and said even he's disappointed that his teammates didn't even step up, and even former teammates didn't step up and say anything in his defense. And you can tell they're all just afraid about hurting their brand and their bottom dollar. And
in the cancel culture.
In cancel culture, absolutely. So the biggest issue I have here is in what way is me calling Drew the white sports revs or Drew calling me the brown sports rev, is that innately racist? And I would say to the end of the day, absolutely it's not racist. Racist is about hate and and disgust of someone's skin color compared to your own. And to say Josh Donaldson is a racist, that that he has hatred to African American people, to black people, to non-white people, is absolutely disgusting to me, because what Josh Donaldson has done through his whole life and his career and his givings and all this stuff that he does has been so good for the communities that he's in, so good for in Toronto when he was here, and it's just it's a shame to me, and I feel bad about him. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, at the game yesterday, I think Pollock heard worse things shouted his way than Tim Anderson did.
Not even, but
You know what I mean? Like, that was more hatred than what Donaldson said to Anderson. For those of you who don't know, we sat in the outfield there area, and poor guy was just getting ragged on. I don't know what he did, but he was just everybody in that section was just picking on him.
He had a couple mistakes too, which added to it, which was great.
Mistakes, which was also funny and kind of led into it. But when you're talking about racism, I think you nailed it. It's about hate. It's about being racist means taking somebody who's of a different skin color and thinking they're a lesser being, not even a lesser human being, a lesser being, right? When the slave ships traded Africans into the United States and into Europe and into England, black people were thought to be monkeys, not people. They thought they were closely related to monkeys. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about hating somebody for their color of their skin. Not, hey, I'm going to poke fun at my teammate who's being a dum-dum, who was okay with it 6 months ago, but all of a sudden now isn't okay with it because we aren't teammates anymore. We've gotten to this point where we're so sensitive to making somebody feel bad, right? Is it, if I'm speaking the truth, and Drew is the white guy on this podcast, we can't call it anything else. He's a white guy. That's fine. I don't care. Down doesn't care. That's the truth. He's just a white guy. But if he's going to get all bent out of shape about it, whose problem is that? It's Drew's. Because we're speaking truth. Now, if I'm saying that because he's white, he doesn't have a same level of authority on this podcast, or his opinions don't matter, that's a different story. Then we're being racist. But we've come to this point in society where we're talking about pronouns, we're talking about, how I feel, and we're talking about somebody telling me how I can and cannot think, or what is right and wrong. Just because you are inconvenienced by my beliefs, just because you feel like I'm not being as open as you like me to be, that's I'm allowed to feel that way. I'm allowed to believe something different than you. As long as I am not perpetrating hate, as long as I'm not putting anybody down, my beliefs are my beliefs. Christians all over the world get persecuted. But you say something wrong about Allah or something wrong about a Hindu god, all of a sudden you're the worst person in the entire world. You say that, Jesus Christ is my king, oh, you're intolerant. There's a double standard here. And I feel it's arrogant to think that one way of thinking is the only way of thinking. Right? One way of thinking of like this, my way is the right way. I can't look at anybody else's opinions. I can't accept that somebody else might be different than me, is quite arrogant. You go to other cultures around the world, there's different ways people think. In India, there's the caste system. Do we say all of India is stupid because they have a caste system that goes back thousands of years? No. It's part of their culture, so that's okay.
And the caste system is truly racism.
Yeah, it's inherent.
For people that don't know.
And there's different customs all over the world, right? Where you treat your elders with respect in certain ways, or you call them by certain dignified names. That's cultural stuff, right? Whereas here, that may not happen. But do we accept those other cultural things? Yeah, of course we do. We say, oh, that's just how they do it over there. Sure. But as soon as you say, hey, I'm against my 6-year-old kid learning about sex before I'm ready to tell them, oh, well, that's homophobic, that's racist, blah. It's like, excuse me, where's the line of what's okay and what's not okay? Is it something that's convenient to talk about, or is it actually hard truths? Right? Because we talk about freedom, we talk about tolerance, but your inability to tolerate my beliefs because they're different is a whole other story. Right? And I mean, as a Christian, I have a set beliefs that are based in the Bible, but Jesus said to love your neighbor. So I don't care if you disagree with me. You're allowed to disagree with me. That's your business. But I'm still going to love you the same way. I'm still going to treat you with the same level of respect. I may not go to the strip club with you, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I can't talk to this person, right? That's not how it is. But on the left side of things, it's either you include everything, you just do what we say, or you're racist, homophobic, whatever ism you want to put in there, you are it. It's funny how the people who claim to be tolerant are the most intolerant.
And basically, yeah, absolutely. We just need to get in a place into our society where we can be respectful and be able to disagree, still be loving, and still be able to have difference of opinion. And it's not just so, because you believe something different, that means you are everything I'm against. And that's not how it should be. That's why we see this change in our politics. Even if you don't believe the same way in politics for me, you won't even have a conversation or be my friend anymore. If you can see that when it comes to vaccines. If you believe this way should be mandated, or this should be this, and you won't even be civilized to one another. And that's an issue that we have. And to coming back to the racial sensitivity is basically we need to stop making it, what's the term when a victim. We don't want to be coming from a victim mentality anymore, because really we're not victims. Me and Joel, we're minorities in Canada, and we don't come from a victim mindset. We know there's been challenges along the way, but there's challenges for everybody, and we're blessed. And really, it's nothing to do with what our culture is, what our skin color is our success or our failures. It's who we are. It's what we do with ourselves, how much work we put in, how much emphasis we put on certain areas of our life, of where we see our success and our failures. It doesn't have anything to do with our skin color. And for those people, obviously there are people out there that are racist. We've seen it. We've seen it recently. We've seen it in Buffalo when the guy was outright racist, and that's why he went to go shoot people. But it's not it's clearly not the majority. It's clearly not. It's just blown up way out of proportion. Was what I'm trying to say, and we're just basically missing something as a culture, and we're looking to be the best. Who has the best victim story? And you want that. It's almost celebrated, and that's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like, take a look at Kyrie. Okay, Kyrie is all over the place, but he took a stance on the vaccine thing, right? And as much as I dislike Kyrie as a player, I give him credit for that, and I think I've said this multiple times in this podcast. Now the narrative is, oh, Kyrie wasn't there for his team. Kyrie did this. Well, no, of course he missed those games. He took a stance on what he wanted to do, and that stance now is being completely ignored. Right? The stance that if applied to a different topic, let's just say, well, I'm not going to play in this city because this guy was racist, that would be okay. But because it's a vaccine thing, doesn't fit the narrative of what people want. The story's now flipped to, oh, Kyrie's a bad teammate, Kyrie's this, trade Kyrie, yada, yada, yada. The same thing can be applied to all sorts of isms that we're talking about today. Like, if I'm getting a promotion because of my color, that's racist.
Yep.
right? I should be getting a promotion based on my merit, based on what I'm doing, based on who I am as a person at my job. My identity isn't my color. And if you make your identity a thing of this world, you're always going to be upset about something. There's always going to be something that's unfair. Well, let's just be real. This world isn't perfect. It's a sin-filled world. So there's going to be stuff that's unfair. Not being able to drive 140 down the 401 is unfair. And getting a ticket for it sucks. But life's unfair. We gotta deal with it. You know? Not being 6'3" when all my dad's brothers are that tall. Life's unfair. Deal with it. Having diabetes sucks. But life's unfair. I gotta deal with it. There's always gonna be something you can point to and have that victimhood mentality. And if you make that your identity, you're always gonna be sad. You're always gonna be upset about something. You're always gonna be blaming somebody else for not getting what you want. And that's why you see this whole politics thing, and we won't even go into that, but like, there's so many things where they're pandering to say, hey, we're going to give you things that you haven't earned. Because people are basing their identity, basing their self-worth on stuff that shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
That's all
I'm with you. And exactly, our identity is not in our sexuality or in our color or in our music that we listen to. It's in Christ. It's in who we are. Because what we believe in Christianity is that we are all created in the image of God. We're all created equal, and He loves us all. That's what our identity should be in. And you're not going to find that in this world. And I love what you said. So yeah, that's a wrap.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap. I don't think Drew would have agreed with everything you said. I can guarantee that. Probably would have been a little more fired up than he usually is. You may have heard, maybe 3 or 4 tones in his monotonous voice, but yeah, I mean, hit the comments. Let us know what you think.
I did want to highlight this one thing. This is why I zoomed in on this book, Joel. This is Jonathan Isaac's book called Why I Stand, and this is when he stood in the bubble while everyone else was not standing. So I wanted to give a shout out to Jonathan Isaac. I'm excited to dive into that book. I'm actually giving one book away as well, and I'll give you guys a little review later on for sure. But shout out to Jonathan Isaac. Shout out for him standing on what he believes in. I know he's a big believer as well, and he's one of those real ones too. So
yeah, he's legit. Cool.
All right.
Wrap it up, man.
That's it. Thanks, guys. Like Joel said, like, subscribe, share, comment, visit our website, donate some money, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week, and hopefully we'll have the White Sports Reverends back with us. Drew Martin. I'm sorry if you're offended about that. All right, just Drew Martin. We miss him.
Cookie.
And yeah, exactly. Peace out, guys. Have a great day.
Peace.